Hi everyone, hope last week was good to you. Mine was busy, productive, frustrating in equal measures. Let's see how this week goes. What's it got in store for all of us? Kind of hoping for a quieter week actually. That would be nice. Getting out the house, that'd be nice. Hope everyone's coping okay with lockdown. Right, so these are your readings for the week beginning the 20th of April 2020. And I'm going to start with Capricorn. So we'll have a little look for you and see what the week ahead has in store. Okay, Capricorn, we've got the Eight of Bows, the Moon on Water, and the Nine of Stones. I'm wondering if you're struggling a little bit at the moment, Capricorn. I think you feel like you want to be getting out there, you want to be doing stuff, you want to be seeing people, and none of that is really coming off at the moment. There's a lot of untapped potential, and I'm getting a feeling of real frustration about that you're kind of trapped in a more home setting. I think it's not really in your nature to be doing the Netflix and chill and staying in your pajamas all day. You need to be getting out there, doing something. Trying to get a little bit of clarity. Yeah, you're feeling sort of as though it's all really unfair at the moment. And that's kind of... It's kind of stopping you doing anything with your time, but you're being encouraged that, you know, if you just look at this from a different perspective, you can make something of it. You can really sort of get on with things and do something interesting, do something creative and productive. We've got the Knight of Arrows coming up here, which is coming out on top of the Nine of Stones, which is all about tradition and home, and you need to be focusing more on that this week. You know, you can make something out of this frustrating situation if you just look at it with a different slant, come at things from maybe a different direction and see how you can make it work for you. Because I think if you put a bit of effort in, you could actually have quite a productive week rather than being all sort of angsty and fed up and stressy because you can't do the things you want to be doing. Take that energy and use it to do something that is productive, that you're going to enjoy doing while you're based at home. I think you can actually make something come out of this. I'm going to pull an extra one just to see. Yeah, you see we've got the Queen of Bows here, and I don't think in this situation it's more about the character of the card. Yes, she's very sort of generous and supportive and all of that, but she's also quite driven. There's a need for success here, and I think it's that success that you need to be tapping into. Channel the energy of the hare and really sort of... How do I put it nicely? Give yourself a kick up the bum, Capricorn. It's about time you did something more productive. Right. A little bit harsh on you maybe there, Capricorn, but sometimes these things need to be said. I'm going to have a look for Taurus now, see what the week ahead has in store for Taurus. I know these are only short little readings again, but it has been one hell of a week. promise I'll do more next week. Promise. You can hold me to that. Okay, Taurus. Where's this week taking you? Right, we've got the Seer, the King of Arrows, and the King of Stones. These could be two separate characters that you're dealing with at the moment, or it could be that there's a kind of bit of a battle between yourself, within yourself rather. You, on the one hand, there's this loyalty and devotion and looking after others, and then on the other, there's this drive, this determination to put your foot down, go for what you want, be focused on you and what you want. And I think you're kind of caught in the middle here. You're not really quite sure which way to go. And I would say that you kind of need to be trusting your instincts on this one. This is not one where it's not a situation that you need to be analysing too deeply. Go with your feelings on it. I think that's going to shed a lot more light on it than actually sort of sitting down, thinking things through, making lists, which I think is what you're normally prone to. Yeah, you're having to take responsibility for things here. And I think that's a weight that's playing on you quite a bit. I think you're finding possibly home life, family, that kind of thing is a bit of a struggle. You're sort of, it's like you're wading through mud at the moment, and you're struggling to find a way through, and you're giving yourself quite a hard time over this. I think you're being overly critical. It's not a situation that I think you're happy with. You've got this, you want to break free, you want to do things, you want to be productive. Similar in a way to the kind of energies we saw with Capricorn, only I think this is more personal. It's on a real sort of inner level that you're almost having this battle with yourself over it. And you're trying to weigh up two different things. You're feeling drawn to one thing, but feeling as though you're bound to another, and you don't actually have to choose between the two. You can sort of give a bit of time to both. You don't cut yourself out of the picture in order to please others and support other people. You can do all of it. You need to be trusting how you feel on it and looking at a way you can make that work, because I get the sense that you can't abandon either of these things. You can't sort of say, right, I want to do this and I'm just going to ignore this problem here. That's not going to work. You've got to find a way where you can look at the big picture and find a way to integrate both these matters that are happening in your life, possibly relating to different people, I'm not sure. Although I think one is more connected to family and one is more connected to you. But you've got these two issues, and at the moment you're kind of trying to decide between one or the other. And I think it's more that you need to find a way of weaving the two through your life so that they fit together comfortably. And I think that needs to be your focus as we go through the week, because otherwise I think you're going to find yourself struggling as we move on from here. So I hope you manage to do that, Taurus. I think you're giving yourself a bit of a headache over things that might not actually be quite as difficult to sort out as you think. So I'm going to quite quickly now move on to Virgo. See how things are going for the Virgos out there. So we've got the Knight of Vessels, the Nine of Stones, and the Knight of Arrows. There's quite a bit of movement here. I feel like you're moving on from something. You're taking something that's going beyond the idea phase and beginning to put things into practice. I don't think you're really sort of at the point where you're doing anything really constructive, but you're starting to take those first tentative steps into and creating a new environment for you. I think that's what it is. You know, there's a lot of emotion here, and I think you're feeling quite emotional about certain things, and yeah, I think you're probably managing to express that and sort of make your feelings on things clear. I think this is something connected to sort of home and security and probably the past. It's things that have affected you, things that have influenced you over the years. I think you're starting now to pick out the things that really matter and carry those with you, rather than carrying years and years and years worth of baggage around. You're sorting through it. You've been having that bit of a clear out, and you're sort of looking now to pick up the things that really matter and take them with you as you kind of move on. There's a real sense of leaving clutter behind. You're leaving behind things that actually aren't important, and I think they've been the things that have been weighing you down for a while, that you've been focusing on things that probably didn't deserve as much attention as you were giving them. But you're moving now into a phase where you're ready to take action. You're ready to actually sort of move on in really quite a constructive way. Yeah, you're kind of really sort of making some big changes. I think this is some real upheaval here, but I feel it's upheaval that you're in control of. It might seem quite dramatic, and it might look like you're completely sort of turning things on their head, but you're doing things that actually work for you. It's things you've thought about, things you've sorted out in your head. You've gone through all this emotional trauma, I kind of want to say. Maybe that's too strong a word, but you've been through all this sort of up down roller coaster feeling for a while now, and you're really starting to take control. And this is some kind of control to do with a possibly to do with family, possibly to do with home, but it's something where you feel solid and secure, and that's where you have been feeling solid and secure, and that's where you're starting to make these changes. But you're making changes that are clearing out stuff you don't need anymore, that's moving you forward, so that you're more focused on you. You're coming into a whole new phase of your life. You're sort of tying up all those loose ends, dealing with all the little itty-bitty stuff that bogs you down in everyday life, and you're focusing more on what you actually want out of life. And I actually think you're pretty close to getting it, Virgo, so keep going on the way you are doing, because you're actually doing pretty well, even if it doesn't feel like it. All the right ideas are there. Right, so moving on from Virgo, we're going to have a look at Gemini, I think, now. How are you, Gemini? Looking forward to another week of lockdown? Let's see what it holds for you. we've got the Nine of Vessels, the Six of Arrows, and the Ace of Bows. Yeah, we've got movement here, and it's movement that's really kind of taken us into possibly a new phase, possibly moving into something that's a little bit different. That we've got, it's kind of spark of life, but it's ideas and projects and desires and manifesting them, or beginning to manifest them. So you're moving into, I think that's where you're heading towards. I think you've actually been feeling okay just lately. You know, you there's a lot of the key word on this card is generosity, and I think that whole thing has been sort of surrounding you in some way. Either you're giving things to people or they're giving things to you, but it's kind of a two-way flow, and I think that's inspiring you to do something with that kind of feeling. I think you I wouldn't be surprised to see you moving into some kind of charity work or teaching, or you're moving into that area now, this phase where you want to give something out, you want to give of yourself to others. There's quite sort of a quite a community feeling about it, as though you're helping other people around you. Yeah, it's this move forward. It's bringing you into a phase that it's taking you towards things that maybe you've been longing to do for quite a while, that make you happy. It's bringing out that inner feeling of calm and peace and contentment. You're feeling very, very content with the world at the moment. Now, that doesn't mean you're feeling content with every phase in your life. There'll be things that don't go right for all of us. But I think deep down, what you're standing on, that base, that solid base you've got, that's okay. That's secure. There's definitely this feeling of giving and receiving, of helping others, passing on knowledge, helping out. There's a real caring streak coming through this, but I don't think it's just that. It's like it's really kind of, it's building something at the same time. It's not that you're just giving out. You're creating something new, or that's how you're hoping this will pan out. If you're not already in some kind of profession where you're doing that, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see you starting to make moves in the right direction. I mean, we're all going through a very strange phase at the moment. It's kind of, lots of our lives have been put on hold, and we're having a chance to think things through and decide what we really want. And unlike, say, Capricorn, who's getting really frustrated, you're actually kind of already looking at the advantages of this. Okay, this isn't nice. No one likes to suddenly find you're not working, or you're working extra or whatever, but you're starting to see that there's something you can gain out of this, and not only can you gain, but then you can pass that on to others, and that's the real key thing coming out here for you, Gemini. I'm going to take another card and see. Yeah, it's bringing about some pretty big changes, because we've got the Six of Arrows here as well, transition, and we've got the blasted oak, and you're moving forward into this new phase, and I get the feeling it is a complete and utter upheaval. This is going to be something quite dramatic, and I'm not saying it's necessarily going to happen this week, because this was kind of an extra card, but this is sort of, it's where you're headed. there's big changes afoot, and you are starting to lay the foundations for those. You're having the ideas and you're starting to make plans. And whatever they are, I think it's going to completely turn your life on its head, but you're going to be almost really excited and happy that it's happening. This is what you want. Deep down, this is what you've been yearning for a long time, Gemini. I'll come back next week and I'll expect you to report back. Tell me what's going on. Now we're going to take a look at Libra now. See what this week has got in store for Libras. And the cards are all being awkward and they don't want to go together. Okay. Right. What have we got? We've got the Queen of Bows. We've got the Ace of Vessels and the Nine of Arrows. So what is it you're doing this week, Libra? You're concentrating on something. There's something you're putting your absolute all into. You're completely dedicated to whatever your plans are at the moment. You're craving success, and you're trying to find, I think, new ways to create this, because we've got the Ace of Vessels here, we've got the Waters of Life, and there's a lot of creation and regeneration and things there, and she's the Queen of Bows is very dedicated, and she's quite forthright, but she has a really caring, compassionate nature. And I'm getting the feeling here that she's nudging you quite gently towards success, and that gentle nudge seems to be all you need at the moment. I don't feel you need sort of a kick up the bum like other signs did, but you're definitely working hard this week. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I think you're moving away from certain things, and I think that's been causing some problems. There's a real strong sense there of separation and loss, and I think you're maybe struggling to deal with that quite a bit, and you're maybe judging yourself a little bit too harshly. You're being very critical and demanding. There's a big difference between being dedicated and putting so much into it that you're starting to burn the candle at both ends, because that's really not what you need to be doing here. You're being encouraged to sort of like a slow, steady pace. Don't give up, don't take time out, but don't rush, don't force things. Just go with the flow, because there's a gentle current here that is moving you on, and I think you're feeling very frustrated that things aren't going as fast as you want them to. But what we're getting is this sense of just keep plodding on, just keep doing it, keep having the ideas, keep working at it, keep looking in different directions. Don't cling to an ideal that you were hanging on to. Be prepared to move away from that to get towards this kind of new beginning. I feel there's some kind of obstacle here. I think there's somebody or something that's blocking your progress, and that's causing you some issues at the moment. But you know what? You can move on from this. You can get through it. Yeah, you've got these the Page of Bows here, the Stoat. He's he's witty and cunning and imaginative, and he's driving you forward. That kind of energy is there, and it's telling you, you know, quite strongly to let go. There are things you can't hang on to at the moment. Just let go, go with the flow, and find new ways of making things work for you, because you know you can do. You're putting the work in. You're just being a little bit too harsh on yourself and expecting too much too soon. You've got to slow down, be steady. It will get there. It will. Yeah, it will get there. You've got some real strength and determination here. Look, you know, and you're looking out for you. You're looking out for your pack, that community that matters to you. This is where you touch base. This is your grounding. This is what connects you to everything. And as long as you're still working on the things that are important to you, even if it's having to take you in a different direction for a while, then I think you're going to come out of it all right. Just don't rush things this week, and don't work too hard. Right. Aquarius. What's happening for you this week, Aquarius? Okay, we've got the King of Arrows, the Nine of Bows, and the World Tree. Yeah, you're pretty determined this week, Aquarius. You're really sort of you're dealing with quite a difficult situation. I think it's sort of like everything's closing in, and there's a lot of clutter and stress and things that are binding you that really they're beyond your control, but they're totally useless to you. There's all these things that are just getting in the way, and what you really want to do is sort of lash out and break free of all this. And I think you're going to do that, but you need to be doing it in a controlled way. You need to be thinking things through first, and then making a decision, a clear decision, and taking action. Now, this is a kind of action that is, it's not just sort of doing something, it's not just moving forward. This is where you might have to really put your foot down. You need to be quite strong and determined, and really exercise some real force here to get where you want to be going. It is working out. You know, there's this problem here. I think it's going to resolve itself. But there's very much a feeling of coming into a different phase. You're pulling everything together and working out what it really is you want, and you're potentially cutting loose things that aren't really serving you at the moment, things that are actually becoming more of a hassle than they ought to be. But there's a sense of completion here. I think come the end of the week you'll have a much better idea of the direction you need to take. Yeah, you've got I'm going to say there's a kind of warning here not to be rash, not to make rash decisions. Things are getting you down, they're getting out of hand, and you do need to tackle them. It's not the kind of thing that you can just wait it out or sweep it under the carpet. This isn't going to go away on its own. You've got to actually deal with this. But you need to be employing the energy up here. This calm, collected, and very determined energy needs to be what you're utilising, rather than the Page of Stones here, which has got lots of forward energy and force, which you do need, but he tends to act without any kind of thought. Don't let your emotions get the better of you. Make sure you are in complete control this week. You need to be you need to be the one in the driving seat, because if you start reacting to others rather than taking the action yourself, I think that is going to backfire. You need to be aware of your surroundings and what you do and what you say. And there's a kind of hint here that I think something's coming to a conclusion. One way or another, something is winding up. I think it's you're moving on from something, and it's I'm not going to say giving up, because I don't think that's in the Aquarius nature to give up on something, but it's kind of, you need to, there's a sense of cutting your losses, getting out what you can, moving on in a positive way. You've kind of just got to go with it. If events are kind of running away with you, I think, a little bit at the moment, and they will be doing, I think, over the course of the week. Things are starting to really kind of pick up pace, and you do need to take control, and you do need to take decisive action, but at the same time you need to surrender to what's happening, rather than, it's not a giving up, but it is an acceptance that there are certain things you need to be doing, or certain things you can't control. But I think it's going to be taking you in a positive direction, I think, because we've got the world tree here, and you've got all the knowledge of that world tree available to you. I'm getting this sense of there's a wisdom here that by the end of the week you are going to start to understand why some of these things have been happening and what your next stage is. So I hope that helped, Aquarius. And now we're going to take a look at Aries, I think.